thanks for staying with us. It's still a conversation on Lagos Television, and on today's segment, is it Lagos segment? On today's Lagos segment, we have a very, very crucial topic we are discussing with you, and it is youth participation in governance, the Lagos example. Nigeria's youth make about 60% of the population, yet their representation in governance remains limited. In Lagos, initiatives like the Lagos State Youth Parliament aim to change this narrative by empowering young leaders and ensuring their voices are heard in policy making. Joining us to shed light on this is Olasupo Jubril Adedimeji. He's a majority leader of the Lagos State Youth Parliament. He has been at the forefront of youth advocacy and policy influence. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, for those who are just hearing about the Lagos State Youth Parliament, I'd ask you to, refresh our memories for those of us who know you already, and for those who do not know you, or who don't know what you do, or who do not know about the Lagos State Youth Parliament. Give us a brief overview about the Parliament.
Okay, first and foremost, my name is Olasupo Jubril Adedimeji. I'm the majority leader of the Lagos State Youth Parliament, the representative of the Chiosa Constituency 1, and the chairman of the House Committee on Public-Private Partnership. So Lagos State Youth Parliament basically is a youth platform for youth in Lagos State. What we do is to speak on behalf of the youth in Lagos State, is to look into policies that actually affect the youth population in Lagos State, and also to serve as intermediary between the government and the youth in Lagos State. And since our emergence, this is the 5th Assembly that has been in existence for the past years.
Okay.
So the 5th Assembly was actually inaugurated last year, February 2024, and since our emergence, we have been able to impact in the life of over 26,000 youth across Lagos State, and we actually hope to do more. What we do is to, just like I told you, is to represent the youth across the 40 constituencies in Lagos State. At the Lagos State Youth Parliament, we serve as a mirror structure of the Lagos State House of Assembly.
What do you mean by mirror?
Yeah, just like how we actually have the 40 honorables at the Lagos State House of Assembly, so as how we have in the Lagos State House of Assembly also. Okay. So we're actually modeled after the Lagos State House of Assembly.
Oh.
Yeah, and we also take lead from them also, learning from them, because this platform is in collaboration with the Lagos State House of Assembly.
Okay.
So we learn from our principals, and we also learn from different areas. It's actually a leadership training platform for all.
Okay, when you say, sorry Joy, when you say you learn from your principal authorities, which is the Lagos State House of Assembly, do you attend plenary with them, or you have your own, chambers? I want you to explain what your operations are, how you function as a mirror to the Lagos State House of Assembly.
Each honorable at the Lagos State Youth Parliament is attached to the honorable representing that constituency. So sometimes also we do attend plenaries at the Lagos State Assembly. In fact, we also have our sitting at the Lagos State Assembly, Lateef Jakonde Chamber.
Okay, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is where we raise motions, we raise bills, and just like I told you, we also do a lot of community engagement across the 40 constituencies in Lagos State.
Okay. Again, Joy, sorry. I want us to clarify this mirroring of the Lagos State House of Assembly. I want to find out that does this prepare you to be a senior or a principal lawmaker in future, or is just something you just want to do to represent the youth, and after that you just move away to do other things?
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. The Lagos State government ensure that the youth also participate in governance.
Okay.
So the Lagos State government uses platform to ensure the youth actually participate in decision making. And through this platform, it's actually prepare one, for those who actually have interest in becoming a senior, legislator. In fact, through the Not Too Young Bill Act in 2018, it has, in fact, given a lot of youths the privilege to also, go after, political offices. Previously, before the emergence of the Not Too Young to Want Act in 2018, it is only if you're actually at the age of 30 years that you can actually go for State House of Assembly or House of Representative. But through the emergence of that act, at the age of 25, you can actually go for State House of Assembly. So this platform actually prepare you if you actually have interest to go for State House of Assembly or House of Representative.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
All right. So looking at our topic of discuss today, youth participation in governance, why is it so important? Because we find ourselves in a time where a lot of young people do not really want to get involved in governance. A guest over there said something, and we laughed about it in the studio here. That you have a lot of young people who don't go out to cast votes. They don't know what is going on, but they are on social media, talking about governance that they do not really understand. And that's because a lot of young people are not interested, but they just talk from the outside, not really having detailed information. So why is it so important for youth to get involved in governance?
Youth participation in governance is non-negotiable, and it is highly imperative for nation building, because most of the things being discussed at the top directly affect the youth. It affects the future of the youth. So the need is for the youth to actually come on board to also participate in this, in the decision making. I understand the fact that several, youths, does not actually have interest in all of these things.
Or maybe the question should be, do you think youths are aware of how important they are in governance?
Especially when they constitute about 60% of the population of Nigeria.
The youth are actually aware of how important they are. But the thing is, it is just their party, and due to the fact that most of them actually have public distrust in the system. So this also contributes to, to their party. And apart from that also, monetization is also a factor. Financial barriers, to be specific, barriers in relation to campaign fund, nomination fee for political party.
Do you pay for campaign fund, nomination fee at your level?
At your level.
Like if you want to go for any political office, you have to have money for campaign. Now, the money for campaign is actually a factor on its own. The nomination fee from each political party is also a factor. So without tackling monetization, then participation is just symbolic. So there's a need. The Electoral Act of 2022 actually did, a lot of things that is related to the campaign fund. But the Electoral Act is yet to cover that of the nomination fee in the respective political parties. So there's a need for that area to be actually to be looked into. For the good of all. Apart from that also, we also have this cultural perception about youth incompetence. This is also a barrier, it's also a factor, because most of our, our older elites actually says that, okay, you're yet to actually have the experience to hold this office.
Lazy youth. Yeah, but that is not me. It's Buhari that said it.
And, there's a need for us to actually have a kind of shift and a paradigm shift in that area. Most youth, they're quite competent, they're quite intellectual. They have new innovation, new ideas to actually change the status quo for the greater good of all. They just need a chance, an opportunity, to make a change, a positive change for the greater good of all.
Okay, I'm going to hold your thoughts there, because I have a question, but I'm going to go to, statistics here now, which also has, what has something to do with what Joy asked you earlier. In the 2011 presidential elections, 52.6% of registered voters were youth, while male youth participation at 57.7% and female at 47.9%. In the 2023 elections, approximately 37 million young people aged 18 to 34 registered to vote. And from this indication, there has been a gradual increase. So this is paper. In reality, and from your experience, we're still talking about this, the question Joy asked, do you think, there has been a great impact when it comes to youth participation and being involved in true governance in Lagos as a whole?
Okay. So let me start from the angle of voting. There is a reason why that increased, and that is due to the NSAS, momentum. That's due to the NSAS. So a lot of people were like, there is a need for me to actually speak through my vote. That was why we actually had an increase in the number of this thing we had, like a wake-up call. So apart from that also, in reality, there is an increase in youth participation in governance. But there is a need for us to actually do more. Now, there's an increase due to the fact that the present Lagos State government has done wonderfully well as it relates to inclusion. Starting from appointment down to the recent revamped Lagos State youth policy. Now, as it relates to appointment, previously, several state governments will have the youth commissioner that is not actually a youth. So, but in Lagos State here, we have a youthful commissioner, hardworking commissioner, workaholic, energetic. That's actually doing good, well. A youthful one. Apart from that also, our youth, SSA on youth mobilization is a youth, Honorable Alabi Okpayemi. SSA on social development is a youth, Honorable Olalekan Biliaminoba. Special advisor on special duties, SSA on special duties, is a youth. In fact, is a member of the Lagos State Youth Parliament.
Has there been anyone from the Lagos State Youth Parliament that has now, transformed into a proper, what would I call them, politician? No, leadership.
Yeah, the SSA on special duties is from the Lagos State Youth Parliament. Is representing Ikeja constituency 1 or 2. The former speaker of the Lagos State Youth Parliament is the present APC youth leader.
What's his name?
Dr. Seriki Muitala.
Okay. I think he's been here before.
So we have had series of persons from the Lagos State Youth Parliament that have they are actually doing well in their respective field, they are currently involved in governance.
All right, let's talk about some of the policies of government and how the Youth Parliament has been able to influence these policies and what positive impact has it had on Lagos, on the youth in Lagos rather. Okay,
so there have been several policies that the Lagos State Youth Parliament has actually influenced.
We have like some samples.
Okay, like let's say on vocational skills. In fact, as it relates to this Lagos State Youth Policy that I actually mentioned previously, the Lagos State Youth Policy was recently revamped and in line with SDG 16 that relate to social inclusion and youth participation in governance. So the Lagos State Youth Parliament, through the mandate of the Lagos State Youth Parliament and its objective, also assisted in ensuring that the Lagos State Youth Policy is actually a thing of reality for the greater good of all. Apart from that also, through the Lagos State Youth Parliament, the platform have been able to provide series of capacity building for youth to actually prepare them for active participation in governance. Apart from that also, the platform has also given access to relevant information for the youth to prepare them for youth participation in governance. Apart from that also, series of skills, opportunities, and opening the door for opinion, ideas from the youth in their constituency down to the platform, and to the platform that's the Lagos State Youth Parliament, then to the state government.
Okay.
So that have been actually in place.
Okay, I'm bringing it down to you now. You know, I'm trying to understand what you do as you currently serve as the majority leader of Lagos State Youth Parliament. What does your role entail?
Okay, as the majority leader of the Lagos State Youth Parliament, I have the duty to ensure that the House actually function well. And
when you say function well, what does that entail?
Okay, as it relates to the House rules, I've been, abide on. As the majority leader, I'm in charge of the business and rule of the House.
Okay.
When it's related to business and rule, it's related to the standing order of the House. I'm actually in charge of the standing order of the House. And apart from that, also, as I told you, that proper functioning of the House, and that actually involve partnership, to support the function of the House. Now, recently, we met with the Consul General of France, Mr. Laurent Favre, and we also met with Mr. Frank Hegman, the Consul General of Switzerland, and Mr. Ugo Boni, the Consul General of Italy, and also UNICEF, to actually ensure that, to get opportunities for the youth. So I also, had, I take active role towards ensuring that we actually get opportunities from the Consul General, for the youth. Yeah. And apart from that, also I also support our members in their respective field towards promoting what they do in their respective constituency to the general populace, for them to see the great things they're actually doing. So amongst other things, I'm actually.
So what do you think, you've talked about trying to get opportunities for the youth in Lagos. So what are the challenges, youth are facing, that they need these opportunities for?
One of the challenges is unemployment. And unemployment can actually be tackled through skills. That is why we recently met with this Consul General to get opportunities from them. Most especially, Switzerland are really interested in vocational training for the youth. And we are over 60% of the youth in Lagos State that are actually interested in this skill acquisition. What they just need is that opportunity to get skilled, to get trained.
And they continue to function properly in future.
Yes, so this is where we come in. We give them that opportunity for their own benefit.
Okay, what type of skills are you now looking out for the youth population?
Okay, digital skills and also, vocational skills.
Okay.
Digital skills. In fact, I met someone just of recent from the Embassy of Finland. He said he's actually interested in artificial intelligence, which majority of our youth in Lagos State are actually interested in. So these are the things we do. We give them opportunities to, even me personally, as the representative of Etiosa Constituency 1, I had a digital skill-up training for the youth in my constituency, which actually benefited over 200 persons.
Oh, that's a major contribution.
As it relates to cybersecurity, video editing, graphic designing, data science, like 7 of them. And they're currently taking up the training. It's a 3-month program.
So, so for an average Lagosian youth who, how can they get into, the youth parliament? What are the requirements or criteria, to be a member? Or is it that as long as you are youth and you're in Lagos, you are one of us?
You are one of us.
So what's it like?
Okay, so the youth parliament is a 2-year tenure.
Okay.
So after the 2 years, then the selection process becomes open for everyone. So in selection, what the ministry look into is your antecedent, what you have actually done, the impact you have actually made over the years.
The ministry.
Yeah.
What do they look into? What ministry is that?
That's the Ministry of Youth and Social Development.
Okay.
They're actually in charge of the selection process.
Okay.
So they're going to release the requirements. The requirement might differ, as every year.
So where do they pick from? Do you have to belong to a group or a society or they just pick random youths?
Or you present yourself?
Yeah, you submit applications to them.
Okay.
So they release the information out, then you submit your application when you're interested.
Okay.
So.
Again, I'm going to go back to this question. I'm going to reframe it. What are the biggest barriers youth, are faced with that, that they cannot, that is depriving them of being actively involved in governance? Talk about Lagos, which is your background.
It is just 3. The first one, I spoke about it recently, is the cultural perception. Some of them, they're actually interested, but that cultural perception hindered them from actually participating. The second one is apathy. That is the one coming from them, from their self. They're not interested because of the public distrust.
Okay.
The third one is financial barrier, as it relates to the party nomination fee and the campaign fund. That is why I said previously that without tackling monetization, participation is just symbolic. So these 3 barriers have to be looked into. Okay,
this cultural perception, I'd like you to expatiate on that.
Okay, cultural perception as it relates to the fact that youth are actually inexperienced. This is actually coming from, mostly from the older elite, who actually feel that they're actually yet to get the necessary experience to actually function well. So therefore, they should just keep learning till it comes to their turn. So this affects youth participation in governance.
Okay. Is there anything like, if you're not from Lagos State, if you're not Yoruba, any tribal hindrance?
In Lagos State, that is not the story.
Okay.
Because Lagos State is a state that accommodates everyone. In fact, in the cabinet of Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu at the moment, it is not everyone from Lagos State that is currently in that cabinet. Okay. So, we have persons from other states that are currently in the cabinet and they're actually doing well in their respective field.
All right, if we're to do a comparison with other states, now looking at how Lagos has embraced youth and will I say giving them a free hand, if I'm to use that word, to actively get involved in governance. If you do a comparison with other states, how would you rate Lagos? And then what are some of the changes you'd like to see in other states? Or rather, what would you expect them to take from Lagos?
I'm going to rate Lagos high. as we say, Lagos leads, others follows. So Lagos is always the center of excellence. In fact, when we're talking about state youth parliament, the best state youth parliament at the moment, it is Lagos State across Nigeria. Currently, the Speaker of the Lagos State Youth Parliament is the current Deputy Chairperson of the Conference of State Speakers in Nigeria. That's to show the capacity the Lagos State Youth Parliament actually have and what the Lagos State government is actually doing as it relates to youth participation governance. So the Lagos State Youth Parliament, the Lagos State government have been doing, fantastically well, and that is what I want to urge other state governments across Nigeria to also follow suit. They should look into some of the workings of the Lagos State government, and also, implement in their respective states for the greater good of all.
Okay. Recently, I was talking to a young lady who I listened to her, speak at a function, and I was like, later after the event, I was talking to her, and she said, look, you speak very well, and why are you limiting yourself to just, what you do? You should be at the forefront, and, you should be in governance, you should be in politics, you should be there representing the youth of Nigeria effectively. And she raised one point, which is godfatherism in politics, and she said godfatherism often sidelines the youth from politics or from leadership roles. And I'm bringing it to you as a majority leader of the Lagos State Youth Parliament. How do you tackle this issue of godfatherism?
The issue of godfatherism, I would just say, I would just employ the youth to just do their thing.
Because it is believed that you must have one Baba Saleh, one Baba or one Mama that is backing you before you can even lend your voice in the first place when it comes to governance.
I will implore.
Is there?
They are needed.
They are needed.
I will implore the youth to do their thing. You see, when they actually say that you're actually good, you know what you're doing, you're a serious-minded person, they're going to take interest in you.
Okay.
And whatsoever you want to go.
So you're saying godfatherism is not just it's not negative all the time. You know, there's a
positive side.
There are mentors, and everyone actually needs a mentor
with experience.
With experience to actually guide them. So that's just what I'm going to say.
So right now, what measures can now be employed to bridge the gap, you know, between government and young people? Aside, you are in a position of bridging that gap because of the space you find yourself. For those who are not in the space, how can they bridge that gap between government and, of course, the youth?
Okay. For those who are not actually in the space like the civil society,
societies,
what we actually need is more youth advocacy. Youth advocacy on youth participation in governance. There should be more mentorship session. There should be more leadership training. There should be more initiative as it relates to youth. And also, I also want to recommend to the state government that we need an enhanced state-led initiative as it relates to youth participation in governance.
Okay. As Parliament now, do you also take it upon yourself to, you know, go to the grassroots and create awareness about the importance of youth participating in governance, the importance of them getting involved even in their local communities, get to know what is going on so you can hold your local government chairman accountable before you say you are holding president or you are holding the state governor? Do you embark on that? Yeah,
we do more of that. That is where the community engagement actually comes in, that I mentioned previously. We do more of that. In fact, apart from the grassroots level, we also go to across Nigeria. Okay, just of recent, the Speaker of the Lagos State Youth Parliament, Right Honorable Shonuregun Maria Itunoluwa, organized a session whereby she brought in...
She's a woman. Oh,
yeah.
Great.
She's the first female speaker of the Lagos State Youth Parliament.
Because I was going to ask that, do you allow women?
And the youngest, you know, speaker, state youth speaker in Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
So that's to show that the government of Governor Babajide Olusegun Sanwo-Olu embraced gender equality. So as it relates to what I was actually saying previously, she brought in several speakers from other states, you know, across the federation together, and what they actually did is to actually to mentor us, to speak to us about youth participation in governance, to create an awareness in that area. Apart from that, also members of the Lagos State Youth Parliament have actually been working rigorously towards ensuring that they pass relevant information to youth at the grassroots level, because we deal majorly with those at the grassroots level, to give them necessary information needed, to train them, to equip them, to enhance their capacity building, to prepare them for youth participation in governance.
Okay. I also want to know, what's your relationship with the Youth Council of Nigeria?
Okay, so as it relates to the Youth Council of Nigeria, Lagos State Youth Policy, there are also a separate youth body in Lagos State. We have several youth bodies in Lagos State that prepares one for leadership roles. So what we do is in line with legislative. So they do more of executive this thing.
Oh, okay.
So we also do a little of executive through community engagement. So That's just the difference. We are more legislative.
So if you could, okay, as the majority leader of the Lagos State Youth Parliament, if you could implement one policy today to enhance youth participation in governance, what would it be?
A policy to enhance youth participation in governance is to, in fact, let us actually leave policy. Let's talk about implementation. There are several policies in Lagos State. There are several policies in the country. There's just like how there are several laws in the country. But when it comes to implementation, when it comes to enforcement, it is another topic on its own. So what I'm going to implore everyone to actually do is to enforce the existing one, is to implement the existing one. Then we're going to see, an accelerated level of change in our society.
So for many youths who now feel discouraged about politics, governance, what would be your message to them?
Just like I said, youth participation in government is non-negotiable because it's about the future of the youth. So if they're actually saying that they cannot actually move into governance, they don't want to participate in anything that is related to governments, then they shouldn't complain when things are actually going south. Because it is their own decision not to participate in governance.
It is their own decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I employ them to actually participate in governance for the greater good of all, for the future of the unborn generation. For the future, for the present, and to actually, modify and to make better what have been done in the past. So I think that's it.
Okay, my final question for you would be just a follow-up to what you have just said. So for I'd like you to also lend your voice to advising youth on how to channel their grievances positively. What are the ways, if you're not happy about something or about a policy, what are the best ways to channel your grievances?
Okay, this is where we actually have the Lagos State Youth Parliament. As a youth in Lagos State, if you have any, area that you feel that the state government to actually work on, or even your local government chairman, let the youth representative of your constituency know. He or she is going to take up.
The problem is that many of them do not even know. They can't even identify who is representing them. So
okay, let me speak about that. Okay. You see, you can go to our social media handles, the Lagos State Youth Parliament. You are going to see those who are actually representing your constituency. So when you actually see someone that okay, this is the person representing my constituency, you can send a message to our social media handles requesting for the contact details of that person to connect to that person. Our social media handles is actually quite active and we respond to messages. So we look forward to hearing from you.
How accessible are these leaders?
Your youth representatives are so accessible. In fact, they also want to actually hear from them, to know areas that actually affect them, to know areas that can actually come in. And they have been working so greatly, so well, towards the development of their youth constituent. And they actually hope to do much. So like I told you, we have been able to impact in the life of over 26,000 youth within the time frame of 11 months. That's to show how active these youth representatives have been.
Okay, just before we go, I just need an update on this information. On October 1, 2024, during Nigeria's 64th Independence Day, broadcast by President Bola Tinubu, he announced plans for a 30-day national youth conference aimed at addressing challenges and opportunities facing Nigerian youth, and it's meant to, start in February. Has there been any update on this so far?
That conference is a right step in the right direction that I want to commend so heartedly. So as it relates to that conference, we actually hope to, I'm not part of the committee, but we actually hope to hear more information concerning from the organizers.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Olasupo Jibril Adedimiji, Majority Leader, Lagos State Youth Parliament. He has spoken on youth participation in governance, the Lagos example. He has educated us on what the Youth Parliament is all about, how you can get involved. Thank you so much for your time on the conversation
Thank you so much, ma'am.
All right, the conversation continues after this. Please stay with us.